Yo, what is going on? It's Brownwoods TCG, and we are back with game 2 of our EB01 Debut Tournament over at Hidden Collectibles 2 in Orange. And we are facing none other than Enel, EB01 Enel. So this guy definitely is cooking up with the new EB01 cards specifically made for Enel, like Rygo, that other event that lets you bring a Enel card from the trash or hand. So this guy's definitely cooking up some magic right here, and this is definitely a tough matchup for Law 2. So let's get right into it. Our opponent taps 1, brings in the Flambe, brand new card, EB01. If you guys don't know what Flambe does, on play, add 1 card from your life to your hand and draw a card. And she is also a 2k counter. So pretty much what this lets Enel do is it lets Enel get to his 1 life comfort zone faster, and as well as draw a card. So not only is he getting down to his first life, he's also drawing 2 cards pretty much whenever he plays this Flambe. So my strategy going into this game was very, very, very strict and very precise and very, it was just super calculated, right? I had one main objective this match, and it was to completely starve Enel once I got him to 2 life. So as you guys are going to see, you guys are going to see exactly how it plays out. So Enel sends 8 to life. Obviously I take that. There's no way we ever counter out of that first hit, especially if it's 8k. So we got a large hand size right here, right? So we got some options. We have some for sure options right here. So I tap 4 for Ain, ramp 1 Dawn, and I pass. You may be asking, why would you pass there? I pass because if I hit life and it's trigger, it's gonna suck because I'm not gonna shambles it out. Even though I have the max on the field, I don't want to shambles out when I'm at 5 Dawn. So I take this hit right here and no trigger, and brings us down to 2. And we had to activate Super Saiyan mode right here. And I flip my leader. So I draw a card. Okay, so now we're at 7 Dawn because of Ain. And let's see what we end up doing here. Now I can attack into life because if it is a trigger, I'm comfortable with shamblesing it out now that I'm at 7 Dawn. That's the main reason why I didn't attack there. So I tap 5 to bring in none other than our blogger MVP Kid. I shambles out the Flambe, and let's see who I bring in on the shambles. I bring in the new EB01 Chopper. So then Kid brings me back 1 Dawn, set it as active. And I tap 3 Dawn to bring in Shiraya, and I pass turn. Why do I pass turn? Same reason as last turn. If I hit this life right here, and if it's a trigger, if it's any trigger that it's like a Okiku or a Sanji or anything, I would not be able to shambles it out. So he would get 2 hits, 2 attacks that turn, rather than just 1. I opted to remove the Flambe because, you know, since we are starving our opponent here, I don't want him to attach Dawn to Flambe and to get a free swing with Flambe like that as well. So like I said in the beginning, very calculated, very, very slow, very patient when you got to play against Enel. Especially now that Enel's getting way stronger in the meta. He was super strong in OPO 5, kind of fell off in OPO 6, and EB01 brings him right back up in contention for the top spot, I feel. Especially going into OPO 7, he gets even way crazier. I'm actually going to be building up my Enel deck as well. I love playing Enel. I feel like it's super fun, and he gets way stronger in OPO 7. So I'm gonna be playing both decks, RP Law and Enel, once 10 cost Ace comes out, because that card destroys decks. That card is nasty. If you guys don't know what 10 cost Ace does, pretty much, if you're at if you're at 2 or less life, it heals you. I think it heals you automatically, and then if you're at 2 or less life, he gains rush, and he's 10k. 10 cost 10k. It's disgusting. So right here, our opponent taps, or our opponent just swings, leaves two active Dawn up, and we take. So right here, I'm thinking, okay, if Yamato comes out, Yamato's gonna start KOing stuff. If we are at a total of 4 life, me and my opponent. So this is my time to start chipping away and to take that last life away. Ideally, I would want to be at 0 life, because then if I have Enel at 2 life and I'm at 0, he can't KO anything on my board. So here, obviously, he already put a life on top, or he already switched out a life, so we are expecting a trigger here. So I'm gonna send 5 to life to see what that trigger was, and it is a banish, or it is an Onami KOs our kid. So I sent 5 here. They give me a 1k. I sent another 5 here. And they take this life. Is it a trigger? Let's see what we got. So also another thing is, you don't want to be playing swinging just blindly into Enel until you have a full board of characters and you can swing multiple attacks into him. So he gets that brand new event card from EB01, and the trigger is, I think, draw 2, trash 1. Trash is the no counter Momonosuke, that's information. So I sent 5 to leader right here. I'm just dwindling his hand size down slowly, bit by bit. I got 4 Dawn left active. I could swing with Chopper here. I tap 4 for Ain. Ain brings me 1 Dawn, said it is rested. -3 to bottom deck Hiyori. And I believe I bring in a blocker here. I trash one of the Ains and I bring in Reiju. Draw 2 cards. Beautiful. Just how I planned it out. And I pass turn. So we got 1 blocker active right here. So that protects us from the reject. You know, if he chooses to reject our last life and then swing heavy, or to reject our chopper, because, you know, obviously he can block an attack. So I opt for the Reiju here, just because whenever you have the Reijus in hand, you always want to be playing them. And it was kind of nice how I actually got to get the Reiju off here, because I had a lot of cards in hand earlier. I believe now I have 7. I had 5 activate Reiju, bring me back up to 7. So we're looking very, very good right here. Our opponent has nothing on his board, 1 life. He has a bunch of cards in hand though, so we'll see right now what our opponent ends up opting for. Brings in the Amaru, rests our Chopper, bumps up Enel to plus 3k, which leaves him at 8. 8k Enel. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Dawn left. That could be like a Big Mom or anything else. Maybe a Rush Enel, Big Mom. Let's see what our opponent ends up opting for. An ideal turn with him would be probably like swing 8 into Shiraya and then bring in Rush Enel, swing 7 into Chopper. Start reducing my board like that. Reducing my board size, but regardless, we are able to amass our board, because when we are not swinging with our characters early, we're not resting them, right? Because when you swing, you rest your character and it leaves them susceptible to an attack. But if you are starving your opponent and you're not swinging with your characters, they all remain active and your opponent is forced to swing into your life. Which, me playing Red Purple Law, the way I like to play it, I'll happily take cards from my life all day. Mainly because I have so many blockers in my deck. The blockers are going to be able to keep me alive and be my last line of defense when I'm at 0 life. So I'll just take all the cards in my life and add them to my hand for free. That's kind of how I like playing. A lot of people don't like playing like that because it's very hard to play that way. You have to be extremely precise. You have to play. All of your plays have to be on point, pretty much. There's 0 room for error whenever you're playing at 0 life. And I don't know, I just feel like it just adds a little level of difficulty that I'm comfortable managing it. And I feel like it's also, if you can master playing at 0 life, it's just going to be so much better for you. It's going to help you win more games, because when you're at 0 life, that means that those 4 cards are in your hand. right? So if you're countering out early and you're giving cards away from your hand to protect your life, protect your characters, you're not getting those resources that are in your life. So quick word of advice would for me would just be, obviously take your first 2 life hits as Reputable Law. Take your first 2 life hits almost for free. And then when you're at 2 life, that's when you really got to start like protecting your life. 1 life, yeah, protect it. But obviously if your opponent is swinging heavy into you and you have the choice to take the life or to give up one of your blockers like a kid, every situation is, you know, different, right? But more often than not, I feel like taking that life is better for you. So the Katakuri here ends up putting the Ain at the bottom of our life. Pretty strong play by our opponent right here. Establishes himself a super strong body and removes one of our bodies as well. 6 cards in his hand, 1 life. He is in no threat of dying, I feel, this turn, just because that's how Enel functions. But let's see what I end up going for. Obviously, my main objective here is to remove this Katakuri. So if I have the tools to do so, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I already have 1 max on the field, so that would reduce him to 5, and I would just need any other reducer in my hand to be able to successfully remove that. So let's see what we end up doing. Got a bunch of cards in my hand right now, a bunch of options. I believe I have 8 because I just played the Reiju, which brought me up to 7, and I drew 1 card from my deck. 8. Maybe I'm at 7 actually. I just counted it right now. So let's just get we're just starting things off with a quick 5k. It gives us a 2k out of hand. Okay, cool. 2k. That probably means you have no 1ks. I can send another 5k. He keeps us another 2k. Okay. We have to take notes whenever we're seeing that kind of information. We don't just blindly swing. I tap 5 for queen. Dawn -1, draw 2, and trash 1. Okay. Awesome. Let's see what we end up trashing here. Usually whenever I play queen, the cards that I trash are usually always the no counter cards, like Zoro, sometimes Kid Killer if I have too many of them, or the Ain. Yep, there it is. I trashed the Kid Killer. So I have 2 more Dawn active. What did I decide to do with this? I still have the option to remove this Katakuri if I have the means to do so. I'll activate Max on Katakuri, reduce him down to 5k. I'll tap 1 Dawn, bring in Gordon. Activate Gordon on Katakuri, bring him down to 2k. Leader effect, -3. 1, 2, 3 Dawn to bottom deck Katakuri. And bring in Chopper from my hand. And I send 6 to leader. He's forced to take it. He uses an Enel effect here, and he trashes a Rush Enel. So you might be wondering, why would you attack there if he has 1 life and he's just going to get his leader effect? So pretty much what I'm doing is I'm forcing him to trash a card from his hand. Yeah, he's drawing 1, but I'm forcing him to make these decisions, to start getting rid of cards in his hand. So right there, he gets rid of the Rush Enel. He's no longer able to use that on me, right? So I'm also giving him another target to swing into. So, you know, obviously Shreya is a huge threat, but if he's rested, he kind of forces my opponent to swing into him. So here he activates the Enel, and just how I predicted, he swings into Shreya. So he swings 7 into my Shreya, who's at 5k. And I'm debating on if I want to block it or not. Our opponent has 3 Dawn left active, which means that he could swing 8k with Enel. I block for 6, and I pitch a 2k out of hand. So the only time I ever do stuff like this, like defend my characters, is when I'm going for game. Otherwise, I'm always more than happy to just give my characters up. Our opponent swings 8 to Shariah. I would need a counter up to 9. I would need 2 2Ks. It's interesting that he swung 8 into Shariah here because I think Queen would be the better target, but maybe he thinks that I can counter out if he swings 8 into 6 instead of 8 into 5. So that's probably why our opponent swung into Shariah there. I do have the option to block with Chopper here. I think that would be the move because Chopper's at 4K and Shariah is at 5. He pretty much gets that extra 1K because of his ability. And if I was going for game, which I think I am going for game next turn, just based on the board state and based on the amount of cards in my opponent's hand, I would want to keep the 5K body instead of the 4K body offensively. So let's see what I end up doing here. I think I'm just like trying to decide on if I want to throw cards out of my hand to counter it out. Oh no, so I just decided to take it. I decided to take it. This probably means that I'm not going for game next turn. Probably means that I'm going to be going a little bit slower. Okay, so back to us. Our opponent here is just getting some clarification on Reiju, on if it is Don minus, and I remind him that it is not Don minus, it's just on play, but it has 2 conditions. Reiju on play if I have less Don than my opponent, and if I have 5 or less cards in my hand, draw 2 cards. Those are 2 pretty big conditions to meet. Not really always going to be able to get her off, but you need to be going out of your way to be able to get your Reiju off. So here I tap 5 for Kid. I tap 5 for Kid. I think I saw that I couldn't go for game next turn, and I'm gonna go for a defensive play here to kind of prolong the game a little bit more, get some cards out of my opponent's hand. And I sent 5 to leader. Seeing what my opponent does here. Just putting some pressure on him, making him think. Making him think a little bit. So I sent 5 to leader here. My opponent has... Oh, so he takes it. He takes the hit. Let's see what the trigger is. No trigger. He gets no trigger and he activates leader effect. And he trashes a Raigo. Trashes the Raigo. Back up to 1 life. Let's see what we do here. I use leader effect -3 to bottom deck nothing because there's nothing in range. And I bring in the Reiju. Draw 2 cards. 1, 2. Kid brings one Dawn to set it as active. I tap 1 Dawn to bring in a Mad Max, activate Max on Enel, reduce him down to 4,000, and swing 4,000 into Enel with Chopper. Big brain play right here, putting my opponent in a situation where if he wants to keep Enel alive, he has to trash that life or give me a counter out of hand. So we'll see what our opponent ends up deciding here. Swinging 4K into Enel with Chopper. Very unconventional play. I don't think anyone has ever done this before. I gotta be the first person to ever do this play. So we'll see what our opponent ends up deciding here. If he decides to give us the Enel for obviously trash the Enel, trash the life, or give us a card out of hand. So he decides to just trash the Enel and leaves us 1 attack left with our leader. Our opponent has already used his leader effect. So I send 5 to his life, and he gives us 2K out of hand. 6 to life, gives us another 2K, and passes. Or we pass. Alright, so which leaves our opponent 3 cards in hand, 1 life, and we have 1 blocker up. We're looking very, very, very good going into next turn for the finish. Our opponent can probably play a Yamato here to heal up, to prolong the game, but we haven't seen a Yamato yet. We saw Katakuri, we saw an Enel. We have not seen a Yamato yet. So our opponent brings in another Rush Enel. And he swings 7 into our chopper. 7 into our chopper with Enel. He's getting the revenge from the last Enel that just got taken down by Chopper. So we block for 6 and we pitch a 2K, I believe. Yep, we pitch a Shachi Penguin. And we have to receive another 8K attack from Enel to Kid. 8K into 6. And I believe we counter out of this because we are going for game next turn. That's my thought process, you know, looking at the board states here, looking at 2 cards in my opponent's hand. I go up to 9 with 2 Otamas. And he passes to us, our turn. Draw 2 Dawn. We are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Dawn. Draw a card, 2 cards in hand. Let's see what we end up doing here. We just started off simple. 5K to life gives us a 1K. 5 lead, trigger, Shirahoshi, draw 3, trash 2. This was probably the best trigger that he could have got, other than like maybe a beige or something, but super super dope, super lucky for our opponent. Seeing Shirahoshis in life always feels nice when you're playing yellow. So he trashes a no counter, or he trashes a Shirahoshi and a event. Uses effect to get his 1 life back. I swing 5 to lead. He takes. KO's Kid. And we send 10 lead and finish the game right there. GG. GG to our opponent right here. Enel is getting super strong again. He's hopping back into the meta for sure. Looks like I had a Shiraya in hand there and something else. So the game was a little closer than it should have been at the end there, right? With that trigger, but we ended up getting the dub. As you guys saw right there, when you play against Enels, you just got to be patient. You don't got to rush. You don't got to be swinging into their life every single turn. You only swing into their life after you've established your board. After you've established multiple characters that can swing. And also, whenever you starve your opponent, he's forced to swing into your life, right? And when he swings into your life, he's giving you cards from your life into your hand. So he's adding more tools, more weapons for you to use on him, right? So just a little 2 cents there, a little strategy behind the madness. So there's that. This was the second game of the night. This moved me up to 2-0 for the tournament, going into the 3rd match. So super interesting game, fun game. I always love playing against Enels. Respect to my opponent, it was for sure a close one. I think if he drew maybe 1 or 2 Yamatos, it would have been a little different. But you know, luckily for us, we saw everything that we needed and we played really well, I think. And yeah, we ended up getting the dub here. So moving on to the next match, we are going to be facing a Sakazuki. So that's going to be a pretty interesting match for y'all to watch. That was probably the most hype match out of all of these, not going to lie to you. But yeah, appreciate you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, sub. If you guys have any questions, comments on how I played, if you guys saw something that I didn't, some comments, some ways that I can improve, please feel free to leave me anything, and any messages right here down below in the comment section. And I will catch y'all on the next one. Later.